Blake Lively has just raised the stakes in her explosive legal war with Justin Baldoni, demanding that he pay millions of dollars after what she describes as a vicious, frivolous, and targeted campaign against her and her husband Ryan Reynolds. What started as a dispute on a film set has snowballed into one of Hollywood's most dramatic courtroom battles in years, with allegations of harassment, retaliation, and defamation swirling around two of the industry's most recognizable names. And now, with a trial looming next year, the headlines are only getting hotter. To understand why Blake Lively is taking such an aggressive stance, we have to rewind the clock. The roots of this fight stretch back to late 2024 during the filming of the romantic drama It Ends With Us. The movie was meant to be a career milestone for both stars, for Blake, another major lead role, for Baldoni, a director-actor duo credit that would solidify his status in Hollywood. But behind the camera, Blake claims the experience was anything but empowering. She accused Baldoni of crossing personal and professional boundaries on set, improvising unwanted physical contact in scenes, barging into her trailer in moments she felt most vulnerable, and making inappropriate comments that created what she described as a hostile and deeply uncomfortable working environment. According to her filings, the alleged misconduct didn't stop with private encounters. She claims Baldoni and his production partners launched a coordinated smear campaign once she pushed back. Social media manipulation, planted stories in the press, and whispers about her professionalism all started swirling. Blake described it as a deliberate effort to discredit her, to silence her, and to keep her from having creative control or a safe working environment. For an actress who has carefully built a reputation as not just a Hollywood star but also a respected entrepreneur, mother, and philanthropist, the accusations carried real weight. By December 2024, Blake made her move. She filed a formal complaint with the California Civil Rights Department, putting her allegations on the public record and signaling that she wasn't going to stay silent. And just days later, she escalated further with a federal lawsuit filed in New York. In that lawsuit, she not only repeated her accusations but detailed them in sharper legal language, setting the stage for a high-stakes showdown that would inevitably become public. The reaction was immediate and polarizing. Fans of Blake Lively rallied around her, praising her courage for speaking out. On the other side, Baldoni's supporters called the claims exaggerated, pointing to his reputation as a motivational speaker and advocate for positive masculinity. The entertainment industry was suddenly buzzing with whispers about what really went down on that set. Was this a case of a powerful director misusing his authority, or a clash of egos on a film that had too much riding on it? Then came the twist. In January 2025, Justin Baldoni struck back with a massive countersuit. He accused Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and their longtime publicist Leslie Sloan of orchestrating what he described as a malicious campaign to destroy his reputation. The dollar amount attached to his lawsuit was jaw-dropping, $400 million. Baldoni painted himself as the victim of a Hollywood power couple who, in his words, were manipulating the narrative and using doctored evidence to smear him. For a moment, it seemed like the tables had turned. The countersuit put Blake and Ryan right back in the hot seat. But then June arrived, and with it a decisive court ruling. A federal judge dismissed Baldoni's sweeping countersuit, calling his claims legally insufficient and, in some cases, outright frivolous. The ruling declared that Blake's statements were protected expressions tied to her legal rights and her complaint. The defamation claims were thrown out, the extortion claims didn't meet the legal threshold, and Baldoni's case collapsed. Overnight, what had seemed like a war of equals suddenly looked like a victory for Blake Lively. She emerged from that ruling vindicated, at least in the eyes of the court. Now, months later, Blake has gone even further. She isn't just satisfied with defending herself and having Baldoni's claims dismissed. She wants compensation. In a new motion filed in early September 2025, she is demanding that Justin Baldoni, his production company Wayfarer Studios, and his high-profile attorney pay millions of dollars to cover her legal fees and to compensate her for the emotional and reputational damage she says they inflicted. Her team argues that Baldoni's actions were not just misguided but malicious, an intentional strategy to humiliate her, to undermine her marriage, and to derail her career. The request is bold, but Blake is positioning herself not only as a survivor of mistreatment but as someone determined to hold her alleged aggressors financially accountable. The stakes couldn't be higher. The trial itself is scheduled for March 2026, but this motion signals that Blake isn't waiting for a jury verdict to press her case. She's essentially saying, the damage is already done, and it's time for Baldoni to pay. Public reaction to this latest move has been fierce. Supporters of Blake Lively are celebrating her strength and applauding her for refusing to back down, calling her demand for millions both justified and overdue. They point to her willingness to risk her own public image in order to speak out, framing her as a role model for women in Hollywood and beyond. Critics, however, argue that the lawsuit has become more about money than justice, accusing her of using her star power to crush a rival who once stood to gain from their collaboration. Social media is ablaze with divided takes, hashtags trending in both directions, and fans debating who is telling the real story. Meanwhile, Baldoni himself is facing mounting fallout. His reputation has taken repeated hits, awards rescinded, professional partnerships severed, and whispers about his behavior on and off set growing louder. The addition of new declarations, including one from an unnamed individual accusing him of repeated verbal abuse, has only fueled speculation about whether more allegations may surface before the trial. For Blake, though, the strategy appears clear. By demanding millions now, she's framing Baldoni's countersuit not as a legitimate defense but as a reckless act of retaliation that wasted the court's time and caused lasting harm. In her narrative, she is the one who stood up against harassment, she is the one who spoke the truth, and she is the one who deserves not just vindication but restitution. It's hard not to notice the emotional dimension to this battle. Blake's filings describe the deep toll of the conflict, the stress, the anxiety, the impact on her family. And yet, sources close to her say she has no regrets. She believes pursuing this case, even at the cost of public scrutiny, is the right thing to do. For her, it's about setting an example, sending a message, and refusing to let silence win. As the March 2026 trial approaches, the legal chess game is only intensifying. With every filing, every leak, and every public statement, both sides are shaping the story that jurors, and the public, will eventually decide. But right now, Blake Lively is making it crystal clear, she isn't playing defense anymore. She's going on the attack, and she's demanding that Justin Baldoni pay dearly for what she calls his frivolous and damaging actions. Whether the court grants her motion remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, this case is already one of the most talked about legal battles in Hollywood, and the drama shows no signs of slowing down. From shocking allegations to multimillion-dollar demands, the clash between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni is shaping up to be a story that will dominate entertainment headlines well into next year. And when the courtroom doors finally open in March, the world will be watching to see who comes out on top, the actress who refuses to be silenced, or the director fighting to salvage his reputation. Until then, all we can do is follow the twists, the filings, and the fiery public reactions as they unfold. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.